Okay, welcome to mini lecture 2 for module 2. This is going to be a very brief lecture. I just need to introduce two concepts that we need to think about when we look at human population across space, and that is, in a sense, how populations change. One change is internal and one can potentially be external. So here we go. Very straightforward. Make sure you understand these three terms, and then in your exercise you're going to look at them and you'll be able to answer hopefully the questions on the quiz. So let's start with that. Population changes really in a very simple sense by changes in births minus changes in deaths. So if we think about any country, any population increases when you have births. Population decreases when people die. What we normally do is we change that into a rate of natural increase. And so the rate of natural increase is the number of births per 1,000 people in a population minus the number of deaths per 1,000 people in a population. Then we divide that by 10 to get a percent. So the percent is the rate of natural increase. It is also important to understand that that rate is, in a sense, a number that we can look at and we can say, well, okay, countries that have rates of approximately 1% growth mean that they're going to double their population in 70 years. It's kind of a good rule of thumb. 1% means a doubling time, a doubling of the population in 70 years. Anything less than 1% means it's going to take longer than 70 years. Anything more than 1% means it's going to happen in less than that. Now think about that. 2% then means it's going to double in 35 years. That's what we call kind of this rule of 70s. All right, so that's the first part. We understand births minus deaths. The other way that we can understand, though, population is in terms of how those births are occurring. In other words, what does each person contribute to that growth component? And in reality, that's really an issue of how women are acting reproductively. So one number that we use most often is what we call the total fertility rate. Total fertility rate is the average number of children born to a woman in her lifetime. Now there's a couple assumptions to that. Number one, that we're saying this is the average number assuming that a woman lives all the way to the end of her reproductive lifetime, and that she at each stage in her life has the average number of children for women of that age. Okay, so there's what we, there's a complexity to that if you want to take my population analysis class you might get into, but right now it's a simple idea is that on average this is the number of children born to a woman in a country in her lifetime, on average. Okay, now those are internal ideas. Births minus deaths happen inside a country. Total fertility rate is in a country. The other thing that's important is whether there are people coming in and out of the country. Okay, net migration. Net migration is an indication of whether there are more people going into a country or more people going out of a country. And what we will see is that oftentimes this is given in a per thousand of a population. In other words, how many migrants, either positive or negative, per thousand of the existing population in a country. Okay, so those are really it. We can have people coming in or out of a country, we can have people being born, or we can have people dying. That's how population changes. That's it for this lecture. Again, three terms. Make sure you know them for the quiz. You'll also be looking at them in your quick write assignment. That's it. Till next time.